The world of volleyball anime and manga is so vast nowadays. Attack Number 1 is the OG when it comes to this category and was one of the most influential series, not only being one of the first and big shoujo sports mangas, but also having its anime adaptation become incredibly popular in other parts of the world. Crimson Hero and 243 are stories that are more drama involved but still feature volleyball prominently. Dig It is a newer volleyball manga where the main rivalry on the team is between a spiker and a libero. This one gives me kinda Kuroko no Basket and Blue Lock vibes. And of course, we can't talk about volleyball anime and manga without mentioning everyone's favorite Haikyuu, the LeBron of volleyball anime if you will. And you must. But what if I told you that there's another volleyball manga that could scratch that itch? Particularly if you're looking for the more shonen action focused kind with a complete story spanning over 400 chapters, great art, and team building that you'd expect from a sports story. Introducing Harigane Service by Tatsuya Ara. During his middle school years, Kanashimo Dairo was part of a volleyball club. Unfortunately, during his second year, he tore his Achilles tendon, rendering him unable to jump, but still wanting to play, he ended up only practicing his serves. So much so that he became the pinch server for his team during his final year in middle school. At his team's last tournament in their last game, Shimodaira made 15 consecutive service aces. While they didn't win that match, it was still enough to gain recognition from one of the most renowned public high school coaches who is currently teaching at Toyose High School. Shimodaira ends up attending Toyose and joins the volleyball club, along with 3 other first years who were middle school representatives for Tokyo Prefecture. Joji Mashira, a wing spiker, Susumu Kaneda, a libero, and Ibuki Matsukata, a setter. Together as the 4 first years, they aim to become starters for their team and to get to nationals. Harigane Service is very much a story that focuses around the main team, besides Shimodaira of course. There's a lot of inter-team conflict, especially in the beginning. There's an ongoing, at least initially, theme about the fear of being replaced with the juxtaposition of the first years wanting to become regulars on the team. It's not a theme that hasn't been challenged before, but something that this manga tries to tackle more than a series like Haikyuu is giving everyone playtime in matches. No matter how good one player in a certain position may be, other players will still be substituted in. Not only is it satisfying to see every player get a chance to be on the court and see how they work with certain plays, but it's also more satisfying from a narrative standpoint. Everyone has their roles when put onto the court, and even a seemingly inferior option has the chance to help the team directly or indirectly. This also plays into some of the dynamics in the story. Isama Oofuna is a good example of what I like about what this manga does with its characters. Oofuna is a second-year wing spiker who looks up to the third years, and especially his senpai wing spiker, Ayumu Igarashi. He idolizes Igarashi and wants to follow in his footsteps. At the same time, he has that stereotypical first year equals inferior mindset that supposedly the average American sophomore has. In contrast to Igarashi, who is more accepting of his kohais and tends to point out Oofuna's flaws. It's not a very groundbreaking trope, but it's part of what fuels the inter-team conflict, and the topic of the second years being the ones in danger is something that I haven't seen yet in the very limited sports series that I've read and watched. Speaking of the main team, the way that this manga utilizes its supporting characters in order to help one of the main characters grow is great. Given that volleyball is a team sport, there are obviously going to be players that play the same positions on and off the court. Occasionally when one of the first years are benched, its literary purpose is to allow the characters to see the differences in their playstyles and how they can improve or think of a new strategy. Again, this isn't something that's unheard of, but it's the writing's solid execution that I give this manga praise for. There are some really cool ideas that this manga touches on, such as the rivalry between Shimodaira as a server and Mikawa, a libero on a rival team. It makes so much sense because their roles intentionally attempt to counter the other. Or like how there's a team early on in the tournament that's entirely made up of players that previously played other sports who utilize their respective techniques. It makes for a unique concept and challenges the protagonist's team's understanding. And just from skimming through the raw chapters, there seemed to be a lot more to be uncovered, even as going as far to show the ugly side of volleyball with player aggression and timeouts. Keeping in mind that my main point of comparison is Haikyuu, there's enough novel ideas in the little that I've read for it to be intriguing on its own. While I haven't been able to read the entire story, we'll discuss why later, I don't think the writing is perfect, of course. The pacing of certain events is also way too quick for my liking. The first match of the Inter-High tournament goes by in 2 halves of 2 chapters. Even just by comparing the first and second matches of the tournament, it's clear that Oda likes to make way for matches or characters that he really likes. Not necessarily a problem, but it can be a bit jarring at times. Again, I've only read 70 chapters of this series, so I'm sure it gets better from there. If you're looking for complete realism, this isn't the manga for you. I mean, to begin with, Shumodaira serving consistently on the net would be seemingly near impossible in real life. But you are reading a shonen fiction, so really there was bound to be some degree of superhuman ability. Let's talk about the art. I can't speak very technically, but I can say that I think it looks good. In particular, there's a heavy emphasis on movement of both the ball and the players. It not only aids in seeing how serves like Shimodaira's affect the trajectory, but it also adds depth and urgency to the player's movements. You can really feel when there's a lot of quick movement. When you're in a real game, even a casual one, everything is decided in seconds, split seconds even. Something that Oda did early on but only did sparingly afterwards was drawing the air around the ball, which is cool as a spectacle but probably inaccurate at certain points. I won't pretend that I know much about aerodynamics, but I think I can say for sure that air would not travel like this around a ball with horizontal trajectory. I don't know if Oda just learned that that's not how aerodynamics work throughout the first series, but he at least seemed to reserve the airflows for downward trajectory later on. I think one of Oda's strengths is his varied character design. Almost every single character is distinct, and some people may think so to a fault. Oda really makes his characters leave an impression on you, whether it be the Final Fantasy-esque hair, a peculiar face, or just straight ugliness. I mean, listen, I'm not saying I'm any better than these characters, but they are objectively drawn to be striking, which can put off some people. So to address the title of the video, why is it that you seemingly cannot read this manga anywhere? Harigane Service and its sequel Harigane Service Ace were serialized in Weekly Shonen Champion, a magazine published by Akita Shoten. Shonen Champion has been a long-running magazine since 1969, and has serialized some big names such as the Baki series, Iruma-kun, and Beastars. But the short and simple truth of it is that Akita Shoten, and its Shonen Champion magazine by extension, does not have the foreign reach like other publishing companies do, such as Shueisha with Shonen Jump and Kadokawa. So in terms of official reach, many of Shonen Champion's series are not brought over to other countries with localizations. This leaves Harigane Service in a situation to be left up to fan translation groups to be the ones to pick it up for everyone else. But even doing so for a niche series with over 400 chapters is a tall ask, and an even taller order when there's not much outspoken demand for it, at least from what I could find. At the time of me making this video, there are currently only 70 chapters translated into English and 51 chapters translated into Spanish. So unless you can read Japanese or are willing to translate everything yourself through your phone or a proper scanlation, the majority of people, myself included, will never get to experience the rest of Harigane Service, at least properly. On top of Harigane Service and Harigane Service Ace, there's a spin-off titled Harigane Service Gaiden Hydra Break that began on August 6, 2021 and ended on December 5, 2025. As of the time of this video, there are 10 volumes out, and an 11th one presumably coming soon with the final chapters. This spin-off focuses on Ryusen Gakuen, a school that Toyose faced off against early on in the Harigane Service manga. Unfortunately, that's all that I can gather about this spin-off because I can't even find official copies anywhere, much less be able to read them if I could. There is one more piece of Harigane Service media, and it's actually an anime short. Animation X Paralympic, Who Is Your Hero, is a series of anime shorts produced by the Japanese Broadcasting Corporation, or NHK, initially made to promote the 2020 Summer Paralympics in Tokyo. A couple of shorts have come out since then to promote either the 2024 Paralympics or Paralympics in general. They were made in collaboration with many popular anime and manga series, as well as a few popular authors and illustrators in the industry. A few of these shorts can even be found on YouTube on the official Paralympic Games channel. The 15th episode of this series, which aired on August 22, 2022, covers sitting volleyball. The main 4 characters, the first years, are present in this short and all have speaking roles. Shimodaira is voiced by Koki Osuzu, Mashida is voiced by Shohei Komatsu, Matsukata is voiced by Ryota Suzuki, and Kaneda is voiced by Hayato Taya. The first years are watching a match between Team Japan and Team Iran. As the match goes on, Matsukata educates Shimodaira and the viewer about sitting volleyball. Japan is suddenly in a pinch, being down 6 points, and then Shimodaira is thrown into a dream sequence where he plays as a pinch server for Team Japan, imagining how he would serve in sitting volleyball. The iconic wire serve is portrayed, and then an intense rally ensues with Kaneda jumping in, and Japan gets the point. There's a heart-to-heart where Shimodaira explains how he was able to somewhat relate to the other players because of his previous inability to jump, making him focus on serving. Shimodaira and Kaneda then snap out of the dream sequence, with a new determination to keep getting better. It's nothing crazy, but it's nice in general to see anything of Harigane Service in anime format. The animation was done by Synergy SP, and it's very choppy and static. The song Hyakusetsu Futo by Miku Break featuring Hatsune Miku and the dance group Condense was used in the short. Overall, this edutainment short is not much to write home about, but it's very cool to see any kind of Harigane Service animation, and I think the collaboration is very appropriate given Shimodaira's backstory. Harigane Service is just one of the many manga series that have been inaccessible due to the language barrier, and have been overshadowed by their much more popular competitors. It's a shame to see such a large completed series become relatively unknown to the masses, and because there's so little of it that I can read, there's only so much that I can say about it as well. I want to see where these characters go, I want to see how the writing progresses, but there's not much that I can do myself. There's a goldmine of volleyball manga shenanigans to be consumed, and it's just barely out of reach. If you've read or are interested in reading Harigane Service, then if you also like this series, then I highly suggest sharing it around to other people, especially those who are into volleyball or series like Haikyuu. The more attention that this series gets, the more likely that fans are willing to pick it up again, and I would like to see more love being given to not only the series but the mangaka as well. Maybe even supporting the official releases if you can. But even if Harigane Service never gets fully translated, I suppose learning Japanese isn't a bad alternative. While Harigane Service may be finished for good, Tatsuya Ara has just begun working on a new soccer manga called Campioni that is also serialized in Weekly Shonen Champion. I wish Ara the best of luck with his new series and whatever we see from him in the future. Thank you all for watching, maybe I'll see you next time, and take care.